Perfecto, let's begin now. Mamma mia.
Okay.
Two students are working in.
So, Sujay, last time when you had handed it over to me,
Yes.
yes, so those points, because you had put animation, they were not.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome. So I see people now coming in. Rishi, Sujit, Syed, Vijay, welcome. Good to see you. Karthik, Hiren, Aman, Adish. How are you, Adish? Kumaresh, welcome. So the time is just about 5:56, 57. We should be beginning in 3-4 minutes. Exactly at 6:01 we will begin. So today we will be speaking through about this interesting space in the finance sector. Wow, so we see a good turnout of people. Hi Aman, hi Anurupa, welcome. Good to see you. Hi Vijay, welcome. Let's try and make this session as interactive as possible. So there are quite a few interesting stuff coming up. Feel free to raise your hands, chat as much as you want. Yes. Very quickly, all of you in this room today, can you just type in the chat box whether you can hear my voice loud and clear? Let me put on my headphone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Aman. Hi. I said that. Thank you. It's clear. Perfect. Perfect. I think even without the headphone, it was fine. But nevertheless, close to our studio, there is this immersion going. So there could be some secondary noise other than what we generally hear. Just please excuse us for that. Hi, Vedija, Duhalsi, welcome. Last few minutes. All of you can see the first page of the slide, right? It's visible. The New Age Wealth Manager. So what's that? We know the average age of the people, but anybody who would like to, so anybody above, anybody who is existing a wealth manager in the group here today, who is already a wealth manager? Anybody like us who is already a wealth manager who has joined to hear us today? Can write in the chat box. Sure, there would be one or two. Hi, Ashutosh, welcome. Hi, Dinesh. Krisha. Hi, Krisha, welcome. Good to see you. Hi, Sandeep. What's the time? 6. I think exactly 1 more minute. We will begin. Hi, Yuvraj. Somebody says training completed. Kumarish. Welcome. Very nice. Hi, Akhilesh. Good evening. Good evening to everyone. 6:01. Good to go, Anup?
Yes, I think we should begin. Okay. And time is money, so that's
Time is money. Yes. Yeah. Great. So welcome everyone. Warm welcome. So we have a great turnout today, and it's so lovely to see all of you. And we have been hearing that today is going to be a great, interesting session. Fantastic. So very quickly, how many of you are from Mumbai today? Can we get to know how many of you are from Mumbai? A quick, you can just raise your hand. It's fun. Let's see that. Anybody from Mumbai? Siddharth, Arpit. Wonderful. Wonderful. Chirag. Great. All of you are from Mumbai. Fantastic. Anybody from Delhi today? Anyone from Delhi? No one? Can just raise your hand. Anshuman, Arpit. Okay, good. Priyanka. Hi, Priyanka. You're from Delhi. Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, there are quite a lot. Very good. Good, good, good. Fantastic. Yeah, just that has got nothing to do with the presentation today, but nevertheless, just wanted to check. Okay, beautiful. Let's begin. Okay, so today we are here to discuss all about wealth management and what is so great about this wealth management, a wealth manager, and so on, and the new age wealth manager. So we are in the 21st century, equity markets are at an all-time high, and we have so many supportive policies being rolled out by Reserve Bank of India, and then there are policies coming out from Government of India, and so on. So what does it mean in today's terms, right? Let me, before we get on to this presentation, let me have a quick check with all of you. Can anybody guess how large is the total pool of assets in this wealth management industry? In your chat box, very quickly. how large is the wealth management industry in India? No, I'm not talking about globally. In India, how large is it? Is it in few crores? Is it billions, trillions? What is the size? What's your guess? Kindly type in the chat box, please. Quickly, not more than 30 seconds. 10,000 question mark. I'm also putting a question mark against that. What is 10,000? Maybe about 100 billions. Okay. Aman Sahab says 100 billion. Yes, it is large, but it is much larger than 100 billion. 90,000, more than a million. Kumarish says more than a million. How many zeros are there in a million? In trillion. Okay, somebody whose name is 200 something, 2001376 says it's a trillion. Can you just replace that number with a name, please? It's always better to have a name rather than a number. 1.5 trillion in trillions. Okay, I think we'll stop there. It is 1.9 trillion. Okay, it's larger than any of the numbers that anybody of you have actually written over here. Just joined, Juvraj. Okay, welcome. 1.3 trillion. Okay, are you guys Googling it up? so in fact, by the time you finish Googling, it will actually go up by a few billions. So wealth, very quickly, is the wealth management, total assets in wealth, larger than the GDP, or is it smaller than the size of the GDP? We know GDP. Oh, sorry, is it an assumption? How many of us over here know what is a GDP, and how many of us would like to tell all of us over here what is GDP? And the question is the wealth management, size of the wealth management, total wealth of the country, larger than GDP or smaller than GDP? Gross domestic product, gross domestic product, gross domestic product. Fantastic, fantastic. So I don't think I'm going to ask what is gross domestic product. I think the question was what is GDP? Anyway, so what do you think is the size of GDP? What do you think is the size of the GDP? It's the value of all the goods and services produced in the economy over a fixed period of time. 1.3 total number of output produced in an economy. Okay, it is a mathematical number, right? And it's close to $3 trillion. Perfect. Yes, we are closer to a $3 trillion. Somewhere between 2.73 trillion is the size of the GDP right now. But the total wealth of the country is about 50 to 60% larger than the size of the GDP, right? GDP by market cap, somebody has brought in some more perspective. GDP by market cap, wonderful. So GDP by market cap, that means shows that GDP is 1.3, that means GDP is larger than the market cap. No, it's different, okay. Fantastic. So the reason why we are discussing wealth over here, and particularly wealth management and wealth manager as a person, as an individual, because there is a tremendous upswing that is happening in this wealth within the finance sector. And there is this massive explosion which is happening. And particularly important because while we had been looking at this finance sector and looking at various promising career opportunities in the finance sector, people wanted to become an investment banker, they wanted to become a banker, maybe a private banker, maybe a mutual fund manager. Somehow they wanted to be connected with the finance sector because it's a very promising industry. Many a times, we sometimes fail to identify some more promise within this finance sector. And this is the reason what we are going to discuss over here. And that's the primary point, is that managing wealth is also a very lucrative career. And that is what we are going to discuss and what it takes to become one. Let's move ahead. Okay, so who are the people that you are going to see on the screen today? So my name is Sujoy Das, and I'm also joined by Anup Dubey. Who am I? Before I hand over to Anup, so I have been a fund manager for the last 25 years. I've managed assets at DSP Merrill Lynch Mutual Fund. I was the CIO at Bharti AXA Mutual Fund. In the last 10 years, I was the CIO at Invesco Mutual Fund. I've been managing assets larger than 35,000 crore amongst both domestic and foreign investors. So I had this opportunity to looking at wealth managers very closely, right? Both in India and overseas. What are the things that they do correctly? What are the things that they need to tighten up? So we are going to discuss each of those things and more, much more. But before that, let me just welcome Anup over here. Anup, is going to co-host this webinar with me. Over to you.
Thank you, Sujoy. So keep it short. I mean, I'm somebody who started as an engineer. Typically, engineers do my MBA, so I'm one of those. And I've started my career with JP Morgan Chase, but then the bug struck me, and I am since past 14 years working on specific as two things. Increasing the accessibility and quality education in India by three means. One is private institutions, university system, and I have an NGO which looks at that. I'm very passionate about education, and that's why OAVA, because we are working on something for which there's no university curriculum, wealth management, and that is why I'm here. So I look forward to seeing some of you as our students and successful wealth managers. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Anup. I think with this short introduction, let's move ahead. So what are a few things that we are going to discuss today? The first and foremost that we are going to discuss is what is wealth management? What is this growth story all about? Who is it for? The top companies who are in this space of wealth management, what are the job prospects, what it takes, and then we are going to discuss what is this OAVA all about, and welcome to OAVA. So that is the journey we are going to take, okay? Very quickly, we have discussed GDP, we have discussed size of the total wealth of India and so on. We have looked at the size of GDP in the country. Can anybody in this group tell me, by writing in the chat box, what is wealth management? And before that, what do you mean by wealth? And what are the various components of wealth? In the chat box, next 30 seconds. What is wealth management and what are the various components of wealth? In the chat box, please. Wealth management is investment advisory services, all our earning at a point of time. Beat the normal market returns. Very interesting answers. Trying to increase assets and reduce liabilities is wealth, managing expenditures, saving and investment, all income. Extra money, saving and wisely investment. Managing risk and rewards, absolutely. Brilliant. I think we have got, Anup, a really enlightened group over here today. I think all of your answers are absolutely correct. But while it is correct, it may mean little, it might have some other components which we are going to discuss. So wealth and wealth management has got various parts to it. My first question is, do you think your investments in equity is part of your wealth? Yes or no? Very quickly. Investments into equity is part of wealth? Yes, 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 yes. I think everybody can. Investment in a house, the house in which all of you live in, if it is owned by you or your parents, is it part of your wealth? Yes, 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 yes. That gold necklace or the gold chain or that ring, jewelry, is it part of wealth? Really? No. Somebody says no, no. Okay. Naveen Kamma says no. Okay. No problem. What else do you think could be part of wealth? Equities. Okay. Real estate. Yes. Gold. Yes. Health, of course. Health is wealth. Absolutely, Priyanshu. Perfect. Debentures, insurance, which gives you future benefits. I think each of these is part of it. Bank and cash balances, Arpit Mehta, fantastic, 100% to you. Correct. FDs, bonds. So wealth is comprised of two large components. One is financial and other is non-financial, right? So financial wealth would include everything which you transact in the financial market. So it begins with your cash and your bank balances, right? It would include your fixed deposit, post office, blah, blah, and all of that. That is one, that entire gamut. Your Indira Vikas Patra, your NSC, all of that, right, is part of one large component. The second big component is equities. The third big component is your investments into bonds and debentures, right? So these three things make up for the three large buckets which put together becomes your financial assets, right? Then there is a very large component, which is the non-financial asset. The non-financial asset, the biggest could be, it could have various components. The biggest could be the real estate, the house in which you live. People may have one house, two houses, three apartments, farmhouse, whatever, land. It could be many varieties of that. Residential property, commercial property. Each of these things are part of the real estate, which is a non-financial asset. Okay. Gold, jewelry, precious stones, diamond, all of that are part of bullion, and they are also part of wealth. And it could be of various. It could move into palladium, anything, silver, any of those. So all of that, precious metals, is a very large asset class. Okay. There are two very niche asset classes, and which is very interesting. Can somebody guess in the group very quickly? Two asset classes, absolutely niche, but they are part of wealth of a person. Anything other than that? We discuss cash and bonds, platinum. Let's put that under precious metals. Equity, we discussed that, Kumaresh. Anything other than what we have discussed? Do you think there is anything else which could be part of wealth, but we haven't discussed that yet? Ourselves. Absolutely. Absolutely. We are more precious. We are more precious than anybody, right? Human capital. Right? So there is a value to capital, and that's why we insure ourselves, right? Correct. You can only insure an asset. And when we are insuring our life, so life is an asset. Absolutely. Absolutely. No worry. But there are two other things which are actually tangible, which are tangible things. One is art, and the second one is wine. These two are very niche asset types, right? Yes, Priyanshu, that's what we're listening. Art is one asset type, and then wine. So these are two very niche asset classes, but they are also part of the overall wealth. And then there is a process of wine. Yes, art and wine. Correct. Thank you, Anup. So, and then you diversify. Sometimes you invest into India, sometimes you invest into similar products in other countries, so you diversify. So it could be different currencies as well. Then there is a process of insuring it, process of hedging it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all of this is part of wealth. But why is it so important? Why is it so important? And what is this wealth management all about? Why do we have to think about, and why do we have to even discuss and study about wealth, assets, equities, bonds, and so on and so forth? The reason, I'm not asking a question, I'm not asking you to type in the chat box, so let me just quickly move ahead and say, the reason wealth has to be protected, because you really earn it, and there has to be a way to make it bigger. So there are three very large reasons why wealth management is absolutely important. Number one, wealth is created over a period of time. So the first reason, what you have to do as a first objective is that you have to preserve it. You have to protect the wealth, right? So that is one. So what you have to preserve it. So that is the first job of wealth management. You have to manage it in such a manner that you are able to protect what you already own. You don't do anything so that you keep losing your wealth. You don't do anything that your value in the equity markets keep going down, your bonds going down, or your cash balances go down, or your investments into a house or real estate. So firstly, you have to protect it. The second thing that we have to do is that we have to make it grow. We have to make the value of our wealth keep growing. It has accumulation. Yes, accumulation. If you keep working, you have to do better in your job and business. You would keep accumulating more wealth. But once you have that wealth, once you have those assets, you have to protect it. That's a full-time work. You have to protect it. You need to grow it. And third, very important, third objective of wealth management is that you have to plan it in such a manner that this wealth gets transferred to the next generation. Very difficult to even visualize wealth getting transferred to next generation, but repeat it, please. Sure. Wealth has to be protected. So whatever has been, accumulated, wealth has to be protected. We have to plan it in such a manner that it keeps growing. And third, it has to be planned in such a fashion that it moves to the next generation. Wealth gets transferred to the next generation, which is estate planning. Yes, estate means which encompasses all of that. So wealth management is an all-encompassing thing. So it is just not about equity markets. It's just not about equity research. It is just not about, oh, what is happening to ICICI Bank stock when IDFC Bank stock is getting hammered. It is not of that. It is all of this plus more. It is just ensuring that there is a continuous process of protect, accumulation, and transfer. Absolutely. Perfect. Let's move on. So why is it so interesting in India at this point in time? Okay. So in India, it is very interesting at this point in time. Okay. Because in the last few years, and that few years, I'm talking of the last 1 decade, it has been observed that the bulk of the wealth gain in the emerging economies has been seen in 2 countries. One is China and other is India. We had this terrible pandemic hitting all the countries. We have a massive slowdown in the economy. Does anybody ever wonder that while everybody is so much of distress, people are not doing well in business or jobs and so on, why is Indian equities hitting an all-time high every day? What is driving that? Very quickly, can somebody write in the chat box, why do you think Indian equities are prices going up day after day for the last so many months? Very quickly. You invest in gold and leave in it, new retailers added, new retailer participation, cause of foreign investment, Brilliant. I think all these answers are correct. All these answers are correct. Lot of awareness. But the question is, Indian equities, what is Indian equity? Or for the matter, equity. Equity is an investing in the business of some company. If the company is not doing well, why would I still buy that business? That's the general question. That is the reason why in March 2020, Indian equities plummeted by like 35%. But despite that massive drop, there has been a secular bull run. Secular, you understand, right? Continuous. It's a secular fashion. There's a cyclical movement. Why did all of these things happen? Right? Hoping for future growth, liquidity, people becoming more aware. Because, simple point in economics, what do we see? When does prices go up? Because the worst for all companies are over. How can we say that worst is over, Nilkant? Who knows the worst? How is it possible that worst is over? When the economy is slowing down because the companies are not doing well. If the companies are not doing well, why should equity prices go up? That happened from April 2020 onwards. After the March collapse, it started to go up, right? It started to go up. It went up because the demand was outstripping supply. Simple point. Let's look at it in a simple manner. Demand was higher than the supply. So demand for equities went up. Why did demand for equities go up? Obviously, the demand went up because they saw value in that relative to something else. And what was that relative to? Something what? Money is always held in some asset classes. Money is either in cash, right? Or in some asset classes. If we see around, where is our money? Either we have it in equity, either we have it in bonds, either we have it in the cash in the form of banks and so on. It is held somewhere. In order to make something attractive, something else has to become unattractive. Correct? In order for us to buy equity, something else. So all of that things happen. So in this program today, and what we are going to discuss in this webinar is some snippets of all of this and so on. Let's move ahead. What have we observed? We have observed that India has increased the wealth by 8 times in the last 20 years. So there is this massive growth happening, and that is the beauty. What are we discussing here, and why are we discussing wealth management as a career? FD interest went down. Perfect, Priyanshu. Interest rates became unattractive, and that's why something else became attractive. Bang on. 100 out of 100. Perfect. No growth in other assets. Okay. So what are the things that we have this massive wealth in our country, which is in excess of about $4 trillion US, and which is growing at a rate 60% faster than the GDP, right? So our per capita wealth in India is higher than the per capita income. Managing wealth is a full-time job. It is not just it's a part-time job. I'm thinking, oh, I'll do my business, I'll manage my own wealth. It doesn't happen that way, because the assets are invested in a market where there is a continuous movement. So there has to be somebody who is continuously looking at your assets. It's a full-time job. There are just about 200,000 wealth managers in the country. 2 lakh. There are only 200,000 wealth managers in our country. The present demand is 16 lakh new wealth managers. There is this massive shortfall of 14 lakh wealth managers in our country because of this massive explosion of wealth, because of this IPO boom, because of this startup environment. There is this massive wealth creation that has happened in each of these asset classes. People have amassed wealth, and then there is a continuous foreign money coming in, which is making these prices attractive. Every day prices are going up because it is just not the Indians who are buying these assets. The foreigners are also buying these assets. So the price is irrespective. It doesn't matter whether Anup and I have the money to buy equity. If somebody sitting in America has the money to buy Indian equity prices will go up. And that is what is happening. So today we are here to discuss how do we meet the demand of 14 lakh new wealth managers in our country? And it's not a joke. That means we need to prepare ourselves. And this massive lack of supply of new wealth managers in our country is leading to this salary explosion in this space. So the average salaries of wealth managers are continuously going up. You can Google it up. Any of the surveys, you will see it is continuously trending up because the demand for wealth managers is far outstripping the supply. And you can look at any Credit Suisse survey, Huron survey, and so on. The total number of wealthy individuals in our country are continuously growing higher and higher. And each of them need a wealth manager. It doesn't matter whether you're a 30-year-old or a 27-year-old or a 35-year-old and so on and so forth. Okay, how do we join? Yes, that's what we are all going to discuss. So this massive lack of supply of wealth managers is leading to this pickup in the salaries in the sector. And we are going to discuss how does one prepare to become a noteworthy wealth manager and build a long-term successful career in this new age. Absolutely. Yes, Priyanshu, just a few seconds. We will discuss all of that. Who is it for? It is for everybody in this group over here. It doesn't matter what is your background, what is your present occupation. However, there are 2 or 3 things that is absolutely non-negotiable, right? Number 1, your ability to communicate. Because for the matter, that is true for any sector, anything that you do, ability to communicate and connect with people. That is 1. Second, very crucial, understanding these markets as much as better as you can. You can't say that, oh, you would know entirely about equities, bonds, currencies, and blah, blah, as much as you can. And this is where we play a very leading role about connecting and bringing you up to the speed, because we have seen that we have seen experience of seeing wealth managers across the globe who have really made it big. Okay, so this is for everybody. Which are the top companies which hire wealth managers? Name any. There are these Indian companies, there are these foreign companies, all right? So they are really making big. So they are all the best, well-known companies who continuously. So we continuously get phone calls and say, oh, we have this massive gap. Can you send us few people? Blah, 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 blah. All of those things happen. If you are deserving, there is always a great company out there to hire you. What is the hiring trend? Wealth managers are the most sought after finance professionals at this point in time. At this point in time, they are being lured with the best of the salaries and the best of the perquisites. All the top banks have their own private banking arm, which manages wealth. There are several private wealth management firms. There are massive, large-scale national wealth management outfits which are out there. And the beauty is that it is just not a firm. We have seen innumerable thousands of individuals also getting into this space as being a wealth manager himself. They just want to set up their own company because there's a massive explosion which is happening. We are going to discuss each of that and more. And this is what we are going to discuss today. Okay. Do we think that, while all of these things are happening, did it go unnoticed? Like massive explosion in India is happening in the wealth sector. Do you think that the biggies of the world will not notice it? Amazon has noticed it. They have already picked up a big stake in a company called Small Case. They are in the wealth management space. There is a massive disruption which is about to happen in this wealth management space, which is going to attract talent, but who are prepared to get into this space. Okay.
So Sujoy, Aman
Yeah.
has a question here that how do humans basically compete with super apps, artificial intelligence that is coming? So do you have any perspective about that to share immediately, or?
Of course, we can discuss about that. But let me just take the presentation a little ahead and I'll come back to that. Can we compete with super apps? Answer is both yes and no. In certain space, we can. In certain space, we can't. What are the space we can? The connect, because wealth management is a connect between two individuals. If it is an algorithmic trading, then human beings can't compete with a machine. But when it comes to human relationships and wealth management, and we said there are three things. It is protection, then it is growth, and the third one is planning it in such a manner that it moves to the new generation in a seamless manner. None of the machine learnings or artificial intelligence will be able to do that in a seamless manner. So there are a few spaces that machines will be overtaking human beings. There are a few sectors human beings will always be ahead of machines, right? Small Case is a wealth management firm. You can Google it up. Okay, so what are the salary brackets which are in this space? So we just did a random on a national level, website, just to see as of today morning, what are the kind of salaries and what are the total number of jobs in each of these salary brackets. There are salaries anywhere between 0 to over 1 crore rupees. Okay, and this is for an average experience of anywhere between 2 to 7 years. You can Google it up. You can go to any of the surveys. There is always a demand for wealth managers in our country, but only for deserving and noteworthy. So one has to prepare. And what we have seen and very closely is that, while you start small, you rapidly go up. But the kind of explosion in salary or the growth in salary that is witnessed in the wealth management space, it is not witnessed in many more sectors. The rapid growth in the salary, because if you are deserving, then we have a huge country, right? We have so many people. Around 25% of India's adult urban population needs the services of a wealth manager. 25% of India's adult population, urban population. Right now, there is just enough wealth managers to meet the needs of 3% of the population. We don't have people prepared to become one and jump into it, is what we are saying. Does it change anything in the post-COVID world? Location, whether location matters, doesn't matter, and so on. Of course, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't think we need to even spend 10 seconds to say that location doesn't matter anymore. Sitting in Delhi, you can manage a client out of Hyderabad. Sitting in Hyderabad, you can manage a Calcutta person out of Calcutta. Anywhere, location really doesn't matter. As long as you have the connect and you know how these asset classes are behaving and you can plan well, right? Okay. One last thing before I just hand over and move on is that how does the career point move, right? So what does one do? Does one continue to stay in a firm, jump to another firm, and so on? After a point in time, once you become slightly maybe 3, 4, 5 years experience into this space, what we have observed is that many people continue with that job. Okay. However, there are several who actually set up their own company. People set up their own company because by then you really know the brass tacks of this business, you know the industry, you know the asset classes, you know how to communicate with the clients and so on. In a very manner, people generally set up their own business as well. So there are two options, but that's after a point in time. What it takes to become one, what skill sets do I need? How long will it take? Is there one place where I can learn all of that? So in the next few minutes in today's webinar, over the next 15, 20, 25 minutes, we are going to discuss each of these, right? And this is where Anup and I, we are going to have a conversation amongst ourselves and try and bring out each of these points. What are the skill sets do we need? How long will it take? Is there one place where we can learn each of this? So with this, I may I request Meenakshi, if you're there at the session, may I request you to play the short video?
second. Just confirm if you can hear it. Are you able to hear the sound? Yes. Okay, great.
Thank you, Meenakshi. It was good, but I think at certain spaces it was really jumping to the other side. Anyway, nevertheless, let's okay. Let me just play the PPT once again. You can see my PPT? You can, right? Can everybody see my PPT slide?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's move on. Welcome to OAWA. Thank you, Nilkanta. Thank you. Okay, welcome to OAWA. And what is OAWA? Very quickly, can anybody guess what is the full form of OAWA? OAWA. Very quick. 10 seconds maximum. 10 seconds. What is the full form of OAWA? OAWA. Any guess? Wild guess is also fine. OAWA. No one? I can hear somebody trying to punch something. No, sir. W means wealth. It's a thing. Yes, W means very difficult to predict, sir. Open-minded. Okay. Okay. O might be for opportunities. It's very simple. It's OAWA is an acronym which is Online Academy for Wealth Advisors. So OAWA is an academy which has been set up by investment professionals like ourselves and academicians. So there is this body which has been set up because the industry felt Online Academy for Wealth Advisors, OAWA, WA. We are not calling it managers, advisors. It's slightly encompassing, right? So the industry felt the need that there is this massive dearth of wealth managers in our country or wealth advisors in our country. And there was this need to set up an academy, which is par excellence, and offer a product and educate and train, impart knowledge around wealth advisory and wealth management. So this academy has been set up by industry professionals like ourselves and academicians. So we have people from across the country, premier business schools, IIMs, Bombay Management, NMIMS, Hindu College Delhi, and Vikram is there, who is a IIM Calcutta pass out. So all of us have got together and set up this academy for the industry. So what are the few things that we are going to do? I think, Anup, please join me as we discuss this. So there is the first thing, very important. We have set up a comprehensive program in wealth management. So anybody, anything got to do with wealth advisory, wealth management, asset classes. So there is this beautiful program that has been curated for all. It is going to be delivered through an interactive live virtual classes, right? The third thing, who are the people who are going to teach? There are reputed faculty members, including industry practitioners, who are going to come and teach everybody. And it's like a 90 minutes kind of session every day. Duration, 6 months. But it doesn't mean like it's a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's a short sessions delivered every day over a 6-month program. Very interesting. Over to you, Anil.
Thank you, Sujoy. So yeah, since it is a professional program, we expect that people who become our students should be in a position to build this relationship with their clients. They should be able to reach out to their clients with a certain set of knowledge, skill sets. So keeping that in mind, we've curated this 6 months course. As you rightly said, it is going to be delivered by people from industry and best of the academicians in the country. I think on an average, their experience is about 25 years plus. Each day, it's only a 1.5 hour session. So it's 5 days a week, 1.5 hour session. And so if I have to ask some of our participants today, do you think it is just sufficient to have the technical knowledge, or you would need few things more to become a successful wealth manager? What are the, and if you think there are something else also needed, what would that be? Anyone? Yeah. What are the ingredients to become a successful wealth professional? So I think Sujoy did give a hint in the beginning itself. Perfect.
Soft skills.
Yes. Yes. Soft skills, definitely.
Practical exposure. Brilliant.
Experience.
Knowledge and experience.
Perfect.
Experience you continuously build. Yes, of course you need experience.
So yes, this is the arsenal: patience and focus. Definitely, definitely. So as Sujoy rightly mentioned, when you are hiring, preparing this program, this is the input we also took from the industry. What is it that they are looking for when they are hiring a person? And all of you are correct. I mean, each of these things play a huge role: knowledge and experience. So with humans, there's one good thing. We don't always have to burn our own hands to know fire burns. We can also acquire knowledge by somebody else's knowledge. So that's why we've brought you the best of the professionals. So when they're teaching, it's not a theoretical session. They bring their own experience. How did they go about it? What are the nuances? And how do you, very importantly, I mean, Sujoy, if we could go to the next slide, I want to show our participants something unique of our curriculum. So if you can see on the screen, we have got 30 modules. These 30 modules cover everything. And so everything that you're talking about here. So it covers your technical knowledge. We will cover all the asset classes. There are some very niche modules that we are covering, like investment in art, investment in wine. I don't think many other programs are able to do that. We have dedicated 30 hours built for soft skills. So I think our first Syed mentioned that soft skills are key ingredients. So we are putting a lot of emphasis on soft skills. Knowledge and experience is coming through the case studies. So these case studies reflect are very dedicated to the Indian market, how Indian market operates, and what a wealth manager should know in terms of handling his clients. Client handling, Neelkantha rightly pointed, and this is where I think if we go to the next slide, Sujoy.
Sure.
Yes. So the whole course is basically divided into 3 layers. The first layer is the foundation, where we cover, which is for 1 month, we cover basics like what is risk, give exposure to Forex, currency. And then we move on to advanced module, which is going about 5 months. It will cover all the asset classes and some exotic stuff like investment in art and wine. and very importantly, decision making, not just for yourself as wealth managers, but also how do you help navigate your clients to take decisions. This is not where we end. This is where a typical MOOC course would end. They would just give you theoretical knowledge. And this is where our specialty comes in. This is where Sujoy's expertise, Vikram's expertise as a successful wealth manager himself. We are going to hold your hands till the time you are able to make your first investor pitch. So for those who are seeking a job opportunity or those who want to start their own practice, we will ensure that you are able to do both. Soft skills, again, divided into two parts, self-focus and client focus. So some of us, if not all of us, do need some brushing up. Many of us actually struggle to even approach a client. So it is a very unique profession in itself. It requires a combination of skills which are unique to it. So it does have an element of presenting yourself. It does require technical knowledge. So you do need to present yourself. So this is where your self-focus comes and then there is client focus. How do you gain that trust? Because it is ultimately people putting their hard-earned money on your advice. How do you gain their trust to give you, and the more money they are able to put on your advice, the wealthier you become as a wealth manager. So client focus. And so, yeah, I mean, we've created a good program. What are the technical skills such as? So technical skills, Sagar is asking what are the technical skills? So technical skills would be covering the asset classes, understanding how do you evaluate risk, how do you take decisions, understanding the market trends. So each asset class has its own trajectory, its own technical background. So depending how much composition one may have, the whole curriculum also reflects the these individual asset classes, the time we are devoting to them. We also, so Aman is asking, yes, so there, Sujay, would you like to answer this question about the SEBI registration?
Okay, so I think, yeah, SEBI registration, of course. So there is a SEBI registration process. It's not SEBI, it's an MP registration process, and that is part and parcel of the program. Of course, it is part of parcel because, but so that's a very small thing.
Yes.
So I think the point that I would like to make over here is that in order to become a successful wealth manager, as an individual, you need to take 2 steps forward, right? It is just not about doing one course, right? This program is not about a course. It's a program. And what is it all about? It would give you the knowledge. Of course, everybody needs the knowledge. You can just Google it up and you will have the knowledge. So there is no great shake about it. We have curated it. We feel proud about it. We are going to deliver that to you. That is perfect. But what is the value in this program? The value in this program is the way it is going to be taught. That is the real big differentiator. Whether this program can be delivered by London School of Economics, whether this program can be delivered by Harvard, everybody can deliver this program. But the difference between one institute and the other is the method of delivery. That is the difference. So somebody posted that, oh, we also do on NSE. Of course you do. But we say there is no parallel to this program in our country. If you want to become a successful, noteworthy wealth manager, and you're looking to build a career in wealth management, some of you may turn around and say, oh, I just want to manage my own wealth. That is fine, but you need the knowledge. You need the skill set. So what are the big differentiators? Number one, I'm talking about the content. Yes, content has been curated by industry professionals. Has the content created by industry professionals in other academies? Answer is no. It has been created by academicians. But over here, the content has been created by industry professionals. That is the first. The second big differentiator is the case studies. Knowledge, in the form of knowledge, is nothing. Pythagoras theorem. Everybody knows what Pythagoras theorem is. What is the application of the Pythagoras theorem? Everybody knows that stock market is going up. But is every stock going up? Which are the sectors doing well? At what point in time they started doing well? When interest rates started to come off, I think in March 2020, 99.9% in this country said that this economy is ruined. But despite that, it rose from the ashes. And we are recording one of the steepest rally and the strongest rally. And now we are putting reasons behind it. Did any wealth manager identify this rally in March 2020? Did anybody identify the rally in the gold or the Bitcoin or the real estate or the kind of value creation which is happening in art through in the form of case studies? And what are these case studies? There are real life case studies. Nobody can predict. Of course, nobody can predict. However, if you can put your knowledge in perspective and trying to figure out if this is, obviously somebody started buying, somebody found value. That's why the market prices went up. It doesn't matter what 99% of the people do, but depends who is that 1% who has that money and has the prediction and has the not the prediction, the conviction about the market. And trying to understand all of that in totality is a person who is going to be consistently doing well than others. Ability to look through the noise. Now when the markets are, everybody will say, oh, I thought that, I did this, I did that, I made money. But what were you doing in March 2020? Because somebody started buying, because in April 2020 onwards, the market started going up. So this is the second big thing. The third big differentiator is the soft skill. It's not just the knowledge. When you're interacting with a human being, like we are doing today, your ability to connect with a person and your ability to convey what is there in your mind in a manner that the other person is able to follow. That is communication. Blabbering something is not communication. Everybody can speak. But when you speak in the manner when the other person is able to follow you, understand you, and take action basis what you're saying is communication. Soft skill training is an integral part of this program because successful wealth managers are not the people who have the gray matter. Successful wealth managers are the people who have the gray matter, who understands it thoroughly and has an ability to communicate, ability to speak about. There are several politicians, but there are only few successful politicians. There are several fund managers, but there are few successful fund managers. There are several wealth managers, but there are few successful wealth managers. These things and the way of delivery and the people who are teaching you, they are the masters or the specialists in this. They have been teaching in premier business schools and IIMs and FMS and NMIMS. So these are the people who have been teaching this year on year to special in premier business. They are the people who are going to come over and talk to you and talk about these
profiles. I think that will be a good idea.
Perfect. Let's move on. Who are the people? Learn from the best. So there are 2 or 3 profiles that we have put up over here. There are innumerable faculties. You can visit our websites, and there are those faculties. We are just to show you the kind of people who are going to speak. They are the gurus in their space. Dr. Raval is a guru in himself. He's a practicing chartered accountant with gold medalist with over 33 years of experience, interacting with students, teaching them and practicing. Makran Bhopatkar, 26 years of experience across equity research, corporate and academic courses in Premier Business School. O Mahuja, he was my colleague at Merrill Lynch. He had been running a successful real estate company as a CEO. He is the person who is going to come in and talk about real estate module, what it takes. Now, it is just not about this asset. It takes like what is there in the asset class, at what point you come in, why you come in, what is the total percentage that you have to allocate to this asset, and how you change that allocation. It's a continuous process, right? Soft skill, relationship management and client acquisition, extremely important. I think we spoke about it. Ability to influence. Think about the word influence. Communication is about influencing. Communication is ability to negotiate. There will be good times and bad times. Amongst your friends also, you will have cheerful conversations and not so cheerful conversations. How do you influence those conversations? How do you manage your client? When there would be times when the equity market is going through a terrible down cycle, how do you manage? How do you handle those difficult situations? How do you leverage your knowledge and deliver it in the best possible? What are the few things that you say when you have to enter into a meeting? How do you grab that attention in the first 30 seconds? What do you tell the client when you're leaving the room so that he continuously thinks about you? Is important. These things come through practical applications and more and more. So in this program, it is knowledge, delivery, case studies, soft skills, and then there will be real life client interaction. No program does that at all in our country. There is real life client interaction. You would get onto the work even before you are out of the academy. Okay. Then what do? Then what are the few things that you have to work on yourself? Then there are a few things that you have to, carry on with you. How do you build a rapport? How do you leverage on your communication skills? How do you demonstrate that great interpersonal skills? How do you organize a meeting? How do you conduct a meeting? If you meet somebody very quickly, if you have just 2 minutes with you, how do you put that hook so that he calls you back? Right? How do you become the empathic communicator? All of that. Presenting yourselves powerfully. If you have to be successful, you have to be good in each of these things. You take one book and you open it, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not going to get you there. No. You may be 100 out of 100 in mathematics. Your first student in your class might not make it big in their career. But somebody who is a lower ranking can make it because he is the EQ guy, emotional quotient, because he has an ability to connect. Think about if you have both. You have the IQ and you have the EQ. This program is a marriage of both. Right? I think the grooming, didn't we discuss this? Okay.
Yeah, we have. Broadly speaking, we have discussed all this. I mean, simple things like how to write an email. I know all of us can write, but then when you are trying to reach out to somebody personal on first time and you want to create a certain impression, you want to get it right. Especially, let's say, imagine if you want to reach out to, you've been introduced to an NRI client who may be able to invest a huge quantum of money, and you want to project yourself as somebody who he can trust. How do you write that first message? How do you connect? I mean, so this is a very practically oriented program. So it's not just going to show you few slides which are freely available. I mean, I think when I teach economics, so I'm also a teacher, people will only pay you something when they see a value, and you can only charge something when you are adding a value. Right. So when we've created this program, we have ensured that we provide enough value for you to achieve through this program. So these are just some of the points. We are obviously available for anything specific that you may want to ask.
Absolutely. No, so there is a question about fees and so on. So I think value is something very important that you have placed out. But before we move into the value, what is the last piece that we are talking about, and talking about it quite emphatically, is the placement.
Yes.
It is an undertaking. Huawei Academy takes an undertaking of our reach. We have a massive, deep connect within the industry because of our spending 25 years in this space. We have a dedicated cell to reach out to leading companies across the country, student bodies created for industry interaction. It is just not your faculty guys saying that, oh, there is the student. Students also support it. And they see that, see the value. Specialized sessions for interview preparation. Every successful student from the academy will be getting at least 2 to 3 interviews post-completion. A minimum 2 to 3 interviews for every successful student, and in the best of the companies of the country. In case you have multiple offers, we obviously will help you decide the one that you would like to, that you have to select. Okay. What is the money? What is the that is all that is perfect. And we are going to discuss that. This program is like over a 2 lakh worth program. It is a 6-month. You're conversing with IIM faculty, case studies, soft skills, and the soft skill training. Let me tell you, the soft skill training is going to be delivered by people who actually deliver similar curriculum to existing wealth managers from premier wealth management firms of our country, like Julius Baer, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, and so on. The same people are going to deliver the soft skill training. So if I add up the values of each of this individually, maybe it will go to 2-3 lakh rupees. But we have all crunched it together brought it down, and it's about 1.75 lakhs. However, for this webinar, with the webinar, we are offering this at inclusive of GST at 1.49 lakhs. There is a GST component of 18%. With 1.49 lakhs, this program will be delivered for 6-month period. However, you need to book your seat within the next 48 to 72 hours. By Saturday, you need to book your classes. By paying an upfront of 25,000 rupees, then we can talk to you about the funnel. However, you need to prepare yourself for a very short interaction with one of our academic members. We won't, while this price is there, but it is not for everybody. We are going to select just around 25 to 30 students for this program. We are going around the country, talking to various kinds of students. And then there is other financing facilities, NBFCs, zero cost EMIs, all of those things are there. But we are going to handpick 25 to 30 students for our program. We are just going to cherry pick. Please prepare yourself before you get into the interaction with that academic person. So there will be an interaction. However, it is nothing got to do with the program. It is just trying to figure out the suitability of the program for yourself. This course also comes with a scholarship. In case the academy identifies somebody, who has it in him, however, there is a financial requirement, the academy can also offer a scholarship, maybe partial, maybe even entire scholarship to those students. Bear all of those things in mind when you have those interactions with the academic body of the academic, when you're having those interactions with the academic members. Okay. Program is close to over 2 lakh rupees, but for now, or only for this webinar, we are offering it at 1.49 lakhs inclusive of GST. But you need to, after you complete your interactions with the academic member, in case you are offered a seat, please do book it by paying 25,000 rupees within the first 48 hours. Okay. So what are the next few steps that you need to do? You can send us an email at this email ID. You can talk to the counselors at these phone numbers. You can visit our website for knowing more. Okay. And the next batch is beginning from next month, which is October 2021. How to get a complete scholarship? So the academic counselors will guide you. First, for that, you can visit our website. There is a process driven. So first you need to secure your seat. After you secure your seat, you have to apply for the scholarship. Then you have to go through that scholarship screening committee. And in case they find you suitable, they will offer you the scholarship, either partial or entire. Selection criteria, yes. So there will be interaction with it. So there are a set of questions that will be asked to you. You have to go through that process. There will be a short video interaction as well. In case they find you deemed fit. This is not somebody says, oh, this is a market. This is not a marketing. This is an awareness program. This program is not for 200, 300, 500. Sagar, this is not for everybody. We are going to select only 25 to 30 students. We are coming and speaking with you because you might not be aware about this opportunity. It is just to make you aware. It's an awareness campaign. It is not a marketing campaign, right? Okay. Go through this, take this, interactions with the counselor seriously, because you never know, you could be one who could be identified for a scholarship as well. But maybe yes, maybe no, whatever it is, take those interactions seriously. However, the only big thing that I'm saying is that in case you do get offered a seat as one of those 25 guys, ensure that you book your seat. That is the only thing that I can say. Because it's a large country, there are several deserving people, but we will only cherry pick 25 students. Because imagine the kind of program that we're delivering, it's a far expensive program, far expensive program, but we are offering it to you. And then there is, financing facilities. So we have tied up with other NBFCs and so on. They would offer you interest-free loan. I think the EMI works out to just around 26,000 rupees a month or something. Okay. So all those things are absolutely taken care of, but you need to be deserving and you need to be the chosen one. If you are one, then we put our hand around your back and then you become part of us. But make sure that you become part of us and then we will take care of you entirely. There are several master classes if you would like to understand what kind of classes we organize, what kind of interactions we have. All of those things will happen. But you need to be part of that selected few. All right. So maybe I'm going to stop here. We're going to take questions. Anup, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Sujoy. So I think when we talk about something like price for a program in wealth management, it is a misnomer. We should be calling it investment. You are investing in this program to upgrade yourself, to become a professional, to come into a profession which is going to earn you multiple times that. So I think we should be cognizant of that. And I think anything more related to the program should be one-on-one, so that all you can get a good chance to go through the curriculum. You can share your background, because I see this is a very varied background. So Neelkantha just shared that he's a medical student, right? So somebody can be a medical student, somebody would be an MBA, somebody would be coming from humanities background, somebody could be a chartered accountant. So that is why we wanted to limit this conversation to talk about the opportunity in wealth management and tell what kind of program we have created to address that opportunity. But I think anything beyond that should be very personal, because then you are able to gauge it on your own level, that whether it is a right fit for you. We also would be looking at it because, see, we've not created this academy as a one-off. We want a league of successful wealth professionals coming out of it, and that will only happen when we match your skill set with what is the competence required to become a successful wealth manager. So if you have any questions right now, we are happy to answer.
Yeah.
Yes. So ideally, if you're looking for a recruitment in this industry, typically in India, no company hires a person who's not a graduate. If you're looking to start your own practice as an advisor, then it may be a different case. But yes, we prefer students who are close to their graduation. So either in the final year or have completed it. If you do it right now, you will have to wait till the
industry. So right now, if you do it, it is for the knowledge and the skill, because the best of the jobs are for the graduates, right? Generally, people don't hire.
That is the minimum criteria. I mean, I've never, I mean, if the companies might not even take you beyond that.
But we have people who are in their second year and final year who are very keen and so on, and they have gone past the selection criteria. They have received a confirmed offer. So it is not that only postgraduates have secured.
So you can pick up the program, but then you also have to take a conscious decision that you might have to wait to finish your graduation to be hired as a manager. Yeah, that's great to see. I mean, so many of you still here. So that shows
superb. Any more questions? I think we would love to respond to everybody's questions. Anybody's questions which has got unanswered, please highlight to me.
Yes, there is a question Q&A. What courses can we do that we have answered? And there was one more that we said that we would answer shortly. I'm trying to highlight that. Yeah.
So what courses do we do to become a wealth manager? 4 hours program in wealth management. That's the only thing that you need to do. They would be, after you take up this program, it will equip you with the right skill set, knowledge. There would be certain exams that you need to give from the regulatory perspective, and the program in
all that hand holding will happen. So don't worry about those. Are very small things. First, prepare yourself. Rest of the things are very, very simple.
Yes.
Chinmoy Chatterjee asks whether we have to complete CWM by AAFM USA.
No requirement. It's not a question at all.
Sir, are wealth managers hired by PMS and proprietary desk and hedge funds? Answer is yes. Wealth managers are hired by each of these firms, because everybody wants their products to be sold, right? And you need somebody who can understand this product and communicate to the clients. Absolutely. Wealth managers are hired by wealth management firms, banks, private banks, PMS, mutual funds, insurance companies. Everybody hires wealth managers. They can give it different names, they can give it different designations and so on, but everybody hires wealth managers. But in our country, there are very few, and that is what the scarcity is driving up the salaries, and that is what we are trying to make you guys aware. Please prepare to become one, because This is a big prospect in the finance sector right now. Any more questions? Any more questions? There are a few guys sending messages also to me. Thank you. People liked the webinar. Thank you so much. You could have written in the chat box as well. But where did you receive my mobile number? Wonderful. Great. Any more questions? Whenever you receive the call from the counselors, take it seriously. They are trying to watch you. They are trying to scan you. Okay. And thereafter, there will be a short video interaction with one of the academic body members. Take that seriously. You never know. You could be one of the chosen ones. Once you're offered a confirms it, then take the conversation forward. Become that chosen one. Not everybody in this group today over here might be as lucky. Good, Anup?
Yes.
If no further questions, we can video interaction as in video calls, sir? Yes. Video interaction as in video call. Correct. They would like to know the kind of person you are. Absolutely. And what you think, how you deliver, what you have, some basics, some very, very small little things, 15, 20 minutes. So it's a process. Good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We had a wonderful time with all of you. Hope to see few of you in our class. And we will have the batch beginning in October. Take this selection criteria process seriously. You should be, I think there are a few people who have already reached out. I can sense that few people have sent messages and so on. So take that seriously. We would select around 25 to 30 students for our next batch.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all of you. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.